Hi, I'm Terry Ammerman with the Terry Ammerman Group. I am an expert in communications and travel all over the world training executives from oil and gas, chemical, government, all different companies and industries. But my heart is in helping women to be better communicators. And so I'm reaching out online to the influencer community as well as anyone who is looking for better ways to communicate either on their job or personally. So I've talked recently about the 4 C's: control, confidence, credibility, and connection. And I've covered the first 3 C's in the last 3 videos, and now I want to talk about connection. But let's review. Control. Control is about making happen what you want to make happen, whether it's in a presentation or in an important conversation. So that is going to require preparation, and we've talked about that. You're going to be most effective when you've prepared in advance and know what are the key things that you want to get said. The second one is confidence. What's going to give you confidence? Again, preparation. And also anticipating. Part of that preparation is anticipating what people may say in response to what you say. In other words, if you're going to go in and talk to, let's say, an employee about something that they've been doing that you need them to do differently, say, start showing up to work on time or not take so many smoking breaks or whatever it is, expect them to be a little bit irritated and maybe push back a little bit. So you don't want to be blindsided by the fact that they push back a little bit. You anticipate that. We've talked about credibility, and I did a video that is titled Credibility Requires Kindness. And essentially what that means is that for you to be credible based on scientific information, we establish credibility by asking ourselves, does this person know what I care about, and do they care about it too? So credibility really implies making sure that whoever you're speaking to knows that you know what matters to them. If that's not the case, you're probably not going to be effective. And then connection ties it all together. There's a connection implies a sort of chemistry. You want to have a level of chemistry with the people to whom you're speaking, whether it's in a presentation, whether it's a group meeting, or whether it's one-on-one. So how do you connect to your audience? That you want to look for ways to say, I get you. I know why this matters, or I know what you may be going through. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Mina Irfan is my best friend, and she is also a highly, highly successful YouTuber, over 100,000 subscribers, and she does a lot of in-person live intensives. And one of the things I've noticed that she's excellent at, as she talks about her journey in self-development, is that when she says, don't do this, for example, one of the things that she has mentioned that has stayed with me from the very first time I heard it was, just because someone is complaining doesn't mean they want advice from you. So when she's giving that example, she will say, I used to do this. I know what this looks like because I used to do this. I was always giving people advice, and I realized that they didn't want to hear that. And now I don't do that anymore. So this is a really effective way to connect with people rather than coming across with, okay, you quit doing this, but I'm way above that, by simply saying, I used to be there. I used to do that. That is a way of putting yourself in other people's shoes, and it is an excellent way of connecting with your audience. The other way that you're going to connect, I'm going to go right back to the other 3 C's, is you're going to look for ways to say, I know what matters to you. So if you're an influencer, for example, you may ask, let's say you're an influencer and you're working on spiritual development. You may ask them questions that will have them say, oh my gosh, that could be me. Questions are used a lot in sales pages and in marketing. For example, do you often think that even though you know there's a God out there and you believe in God, that you just don't have that personal relationship that you really wish you did? That there are people out there who seem to be able to feel him and talk to him, and you just don't get there? See, that if you have an audience who's going, yeah, that's me, that's going to connect you to them. They're going to want to hear more from you. So you're looking for ways to get them to respond actually emotionally, so that they are hearing themselves in what you're saying. They're saying, this applies to me. Perfect example, marketing example, is if you've watched any diet marketing on YouTube or Instagram or anywhere, they'll ask questions. Have you tried every single diet and still can't lose weight? And you're going, yeah, that's me. Well, what about trying this? Now, I'm not trying to make you an internet marketer, but my point is that if people can see themselves in the people you're talking about, they're going to be more likely to connect with you. The other thing that will help you connect to people is having confidence in what you're saying. So of course, you want to speak confidently. You want to have a voice a little bit louder than normal. You want to make sure that if you're on YouTube or on a Zoom call or even in person, that you've got what we like, broad shoulders. So if you're on YouTube, you want to make sure that we can see at least this, see where my hands are, that we can see at least this much of you, that you're sitting up straight, that you're not hunched down looking like this, that you're speaking up, and that you're talking succinctly. We want conversational tones. We want to hear you like you're talking to us directly, but what we don't want you to do is go off in a million different directions and start babbling, if you will. If your thoughts aren't organized, they're going to be hard to follow. Now, if you're doing an hour YouTube video, you're going to go off in several different directions, but you want to make it easy for your audience to take in that information. And if you go in too many different directions, or you're trying to cover too much at one time, or you're getting off in too many different tangents, you're going to lose your audience and you're going to lose that connection. And that first C, control, you can see that I've gone backward here, is about, again, making happen what you want to make happen. If you're going to connect with your audience, it's going to require preparation. It's going to require you asking yourself what I refer to as the 4 strategic questions. Number 1, who's my audience and what matters to them? So you need to know what audience you're going after and what really matters to them. What problem are you really solving for them, or what information is truly relevant to them? Then you're going to ask yourself, what's my goal in delivering this information? Are you trying to get buy-in from a group? If you're talking to someone one-on-one, are you trying to help them see the value in perhaps changing their behavior on something? It's really hard to change people's behavior unless they have bought into it and decided that they need to change it. That's going to take some preparation in the words that you say. The other question that you want to ask yourself is, then if I know who my audience is and I know what my goal is, then what's my message? What are the key points that I want to get across? And then how much time do I have? So, for example, I was doing a virtual training today with 50 people on presentations training. And one of the things that I tell them, and we do presentations training all over the country, one of the things I tell them is if you've got 10 minutes, then you really don't want to have 25 slides. It's way too much information to cover. So what does that mean to you? Maybe it's not a PowerPoint presentation, maybe it's simply a conversation. Don't try to give someone more information than they can actually consume in that period of time. It gets to be too complicated, and if they think they can't take it all in, they'll shut down. And then after you've asked yourself those 3 questions, you're going to ask yourself if you are going to use any kind of visuals, what visuals will actually enhance your presentation. So for example, if you're an influencer who shows clothing hauls, needless to say, showing the clothes and showing you wearing the clothes is going to be really valuable. But let's say you're someone who's doing a presentation. This is what we worked on today. You're in a highly technical company. You're an engineer, for example. Don't get so caught up in the graphs and all of the technical examples that you've lost that conversational flow, that emotional side, if you will, that connecting side that's going to get people to listen to you. What we know is people buy on emotion and they justify with fact. What does that mean to you? It means that there needs to be an emotional connection. The way you're going to connect is not just with a lot of information, but by having that hook, if you will, that gets to the emotional side of the people to whom you're speaking. And that comes from knowing what matters to them and addressing what matters to them. So once again, the 4 C's: control, confidence, credibility, and connection. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe below, and then if you have any comments or questions, I will look at those and get back to you and answer them. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.